Call the order of the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of Maryville Joint Unified School District on Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. And we'll start off with a roll call. Mr. Doug Criddle, yes. Mr. Steeman. Mr. Yang. Mr. Taylor. Present. Mr. Crawford. Here. Mr. Galicia. Here. And Mr. Fuhrer. Yes. Good, all present. Thank you. And now we'll move on to 1.2, information about closed session and public comment. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.3, members of the public shall be given the opportunity to address the board on closed session agenda items prior to the board's consideration of the item. And it looks like we have a few comments. Mr. Jim Carpenter.
Good evening. When I started teaching in 1993, Pete Pillsbury was the superintendent, and we used interest-based bargaining. Every bargaining unit was able to vote on that year's budget priorities. It wasn't perfect, but it felt different. Less confrontational, more collegial. Then Pete retired, and his replacement insisted on adversarial bargaining. I don't even like that word, adversarial. Now we're on opposing sides, competing for our interests, winners and losers. It promotes bad behavior. Most years, MUTA has had to file charges against the district for unfair labor practices, violations of our contract. And this is not the first year that the district has worked to spend every cent whilst we're still in negotiations so that there is no money for a raise. At the last meeting, I mentioned that we had the smallest crowd here we'd had in a while. Well, we had heard that an offer was on the table and we might soon have a contract. So it seemed less urgent. Now it seems that the district is having second thoughts, that you're holding up our agreement because you want MUTA to drop an unfair labor practice charge. That's an entirely separate issue and should not be considered with contract negotiations. It kind of feels like extortion. What I want is for you to do what's right, to play by the rules, to stand behind your word. Is that too much to ask? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. The board's acknowledged your comments. Next is Angela Stiegel.
Good evening, Mr. Criddle, the rest of the board, and everybody else here. I just wanted to speak to the board real quick before you go into closed session in regards to labor negotiations. It is no surprise that we are smack in the middle of them. We have gone to impasse, gone into mediation, and now, as I said before, it appears that we are this close to a tentative agreement. But then after the last board meeting, there was a conversation that was had that MUTA, its bargaining team, its exec board, and its members find quite distressing. And so I am hoping that the board is going to make some decisions in closed session this evening that will stick with good faith bargaining. Because approaching a labor team, a negotiations team, and asking for what amounts to permission to regressive bargain and bargain in bad faith doesn't instill much faith. And so I am hoping that that will change this evening and that we will get things back on track in a much more positive manner. And I wanted to let the board know that you are within your purview, even in closed session. If you have questions of the MUTA team, Well, part of it's sitting right here. I promise you, I won't go any further than the parking lot to get a cold Diet Pepsi. So if you have questions and you need assistance, I will be right here, ready, willing, and able. But please do not attempt to put bad decisions on the part of the school board on the backs of the union. We didn't get the district into a current situation. Please do not try to make us be the bad guys and make our names mud in order for you to, basically hide behind decisions that you're making. That is patently unfair. And so, like I said, hopefully we get us back on track in your closed session this evening. If you have questions, you know how to find me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Siegel. You've been acknowledged by the board. Right now, we're going to be moving into closed session. We should reconvene at approximately 6:30 to 6:35. Thank you.
Mic check, test, 1, 2. And it was quiet because that was muted.
We're going to now reconvene back to open session. Thank you for being patient, everyone. We'd like to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Seth Steeman.
Please stand. Salute. Pledge.
Thank you. Please be seated. Next, I'd like to make some announcements of action taken by the board in closed session. As far as expulsions go, EH 24-25-28, EH 2425-29, EH 2425-31, EH 2425-32, and EH 2425-34 were unanimously approved, 7-7 by the board for approval. And then I have suspended expulsion contracts, EH 2425-35 and EH 2425-35, unanimously approved by the board. Other actions taken by the board. The board took a unanimous action vote of all trustees present to direct the district's negotiations team to execute the January 7th, 2025 tentative agreement with MUTA and to bring the signed agreement back to the board in February for formal approval after it has been ratified by MUTA's membership. Also, at our February 11th meeting during open session, the staff will present the itemized list of budget reductions equaling $700,000. Next, we have comments from board members. And Mr. Fuhrer. Mr. Yang.
Just want to welcome the packed room and thank Roxanne for her short time here because today is officially her last day. And I'll welcome Jordan as interim superintendent starting tomorrow. So,
thank you. Thank you. Mr. Taylor.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad each and every one of you here, you've taken and have a vested interest, and all of us are coming and pulling together. Thank you again. It's been great meeting you, Roxanne. I'm sure we'll see each other again out there. And again, welcome, Jordan. Thank you.
Mr. Seth Steeman.
Welcome, everybody, and I would also like to second Dr. Yang's comments. Thank you, Roxanne. You have been a blessing, and I wish you all the best. Mr. Reeves, I look forward to working with you soon.
Mr. Frank Crawford.
I'd like to echo the sentiments of our superintendent. You've done a great job. Thank you.
Mr. Galicia.
Same thing with the rest of the board. I'd like to thank Roxanne for working with you the last 3 times, and I'm looking forward to working with Mr. Reeves. So, thanks.
Thank you. And thank you all for attending. I apologize for not having enough chairs, but I do appreciate this great turnout and passion on your part. And also I'd like to thank you too, Roxanne, for your guidance, leadership, and integrity while we work through all these parts. So we wish you the best.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have recognition 6.1.
Evening. This is probably one of the most enjoyable part of the evenings. I'm love to welcome the students who are being recognized tonight. We're going to start with Bailey Pruner from Foothill. Leela Scalise from Foothill. Angela Lizama Sanchez from Kynoch. Ezra Porter from Kynoch. Colton Black from Kynoch. Evelyn Peternell from Kynoch. Preston Irby from Kynoch. Kira McKellen from Lyndhurst. Emma Hill from Loma Rica. And Ellie Yang from McKinney. Parents, this is your opportunity to take pictures of your fabulous students. We also have some staff members to acknowledge. Here tonight with us is Terry Serger from Foothill. And I would also like to take a moment to point out everyone else who is on the list who is not able to be here tonight. They will receive their certificates from their principals. Thank you. Stay.
It's always good to see all these kids and their parents. Moving on to number 8, opportunity for employee organizations to address the board. Marysville Unified Teachers Association, MUTA, Ms. Angela Stiegel.
So, as usual, no way to clear out a room like calling up the union president. Works every time. So, sorry, we have to have a sense of humor about things every once in a while at least. Angela Stiegel, president for the Marysville Unified Teachers Association. First off, since they were just up here, as usual, congratulations to all of the people that were recognized during the beginning of the meeting. It's always nice to see students as well as staff being recognized for the hard work that they do in the classroom, academically, and also professionally. So congratulations to all of them. Also, I want to give a thank you to Ashley Vetty and Anna Carew for helping me out before the meeting. So thank you both for your assistance. Actually, Ashley just went back this way. She's quick. She wanted to be like me, like hide over on the side where the camera doesn't show you. So thank you to both of them though for their help. Greatly appreciated. Also, before I get into like strictly kind of MUTA comments, for those of you that don't know, CTA's big democratic body for the state of California is known as our state council. And so I am part of the state council, and I was just there this weekend, did a whole bunch of work on state council, did stuff for being a liaison of the State Board of Education and being an at-large representative for our service center. But within that, I spoke to a large number of teachers from LA County and Ventura County, some who have lost their homes, some who have lost their homes and their classrooms, and some who have numerous students and families who have lost their homes, businesses where they worked. But in talking also to a couple of the union presidents from down that way, what is really sad is to think about the fact that now we've got some teachers down there that have lost their homes, lost their classrooms, and now they're being told that there's a really high likelihood that they're also about to be riffed. They're about to be laid off. Talk about compounding one problem right after the other. And so I know in our community, we know the experience of wildfires here in this community. We have, in recent memory, have suffered that devastation, as well as neighboring communities to us. Paradise is one that I know a lot of people remember. And so I have had people reach out to me and ask me like how we can help. And so I know it's just one quick thing tonight. There are a myriad of ways to help, but I will let people know that within CTA, we have something called the Disaster Relief Fund. And so people contribute to it. And then when we have members who experience things like the fires down in Southern California, they're able to get relief and assistance through CTA, through our union, through that disaster relief fund. And so I know that times are tight. And I know that none of us have a whole lot of extra money just kind of laying around. But if you even have a tiny bit that you could help out, I will rattle off this website. It is CTA memberbenefits.org, and that is all one word, ctamemberbenefits.org/donate. And so anything that you could do to help out will be greatly appreciated. Our members absolutely benefited from that when we had the fires up here, same thing with Paradise. And so if anybody can help out at all, it would be greatly appreciated. The teachers and their families down there would really appreciate it. So, to completely switch gears, and thank you for the time to put that out there. Another thank you as well. I would be remiss if I didn't thank Roxanne also for your help and assistance during this transition time that we've been going through. So it's been very helpful, and thank you for your assistance. And also, on a positive note, the union does appreciate the good news that just came out of closed session. And so I can guarantee that I will be having a conversation with lead negotiator at the end of this to make sure that we can keep that ball rolling then, so that we can get this out to our members to be ratified as soon as possible, so that when we come back here in February, board can then approve it, and then we can get moving with starting negotiations for next year. Because as great a news as it is that it appears that we are at least inching closer to getting things buttoned up, Unfortunately, that means that we're going to have to turn right around and start negotiating for next year, as it should be. We should be negotiating this year for the following year, not a year or two ago. So thank you for that. And I would also be really remiss if I did not thank all of the hardworking teachers of the Marysville Unified Teachers Association. The professional educators that the district has here, I've said it again, and I will say it again and again and again, the professional educators that you have here in this district are an honor and a privilege to represent, and it's what keeps me doing this work. But I want to let them know that I appreciate everything that they do. The fact that they come out in the numbers tonight, the fact that they will email each other and text each other and keep everybody in the loop, and the fact that they care for the students in their charge just as much as if those children really were a member of their families is a testament to the people within this unit. And so I appreciate them, and I want them to know I acknowledge all of their hard work. Thank you.
Angela. Operating Engineers Local Union Number 3. California School Employees Association 326 and 648. AMACE, Association of Management and Confidential Employees. Supervisory Unit. Okay. Next, we're going to move to number 9, public comments. And persons wishing to address the board under public comments or specific agenda item prior to the board taking action must complete a public comments card, looks something like this, and place it into the basket. Speakers will be invited to the podium in the order the public comment cards were received. The public may address topics not on the agenda during this section of the agenda or asked they may be heard during a specific item. Comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker, 20 minutes total time for public input on each item per board bylaw 9323. And I believe also that Ralph Brand Act provides a board of trustees from responding to these comments with the exception of clarifying questions. The California Government Code Section 54954.2A states no action or discussion shall be undertaken on any item not appearing on the posted agenda, except that members of the legislative body or its staff may briefly respond to the statements made by questions or questions posed by persons exercising their public testimony rights under Section 54954. And with that, we will now hear public comments. First up is Chanel Everlard. Chanel Everlard.
Esteemed board members, I am Chanel Everlard, and Shondonna Everlard is my amazing daughter. She is a student at Middle College Academy. I stand here before you tonight, not just as a concerned parent, but also as an advocate for the future of our community. The decision to close our children's school is more than just a budgetary consideration. It's a matter that strikes at the very heart of our children's education and well-being. Our school is not just a building. It's a haven where our children learn, grow, and thrive. It is a place where our teachers nurture young minds and where friendships are forged and our children feel safe and supported. Closing this school would not only disrupt their educational journey, but it would also leave a void that no other institution can fill. Please consider the impact on our children's academic success. By keeping our school open, we ensure that our children continue to receive the quality education they deserve, and we give them the best chance to succeed in life. I urge you to think beyond the immediate financial implications and consider the long-lasting benefits of preserving our school. Let us invest in our children's future and keep our school doors open, not just for them, but for all the future generations of children who would benefit from the unparalleled opportunities offered at Middle College Academy. Thank you.
Thank you, Chanel. Next, we have Sean Donna Everlard.
Good evening, parents, students, and members of the board. My name is Sean Donna Everlard, and I am a student from Middle College Academy, a new educational program set on helping high school students to achieve an associate's degree of their choice while still taking their regular high school classes. Today, I and other students and parents come before you with this problem. The school we love so much and have put so much effort into is being taken from us. This school is not just where we learn, it is where we grow, dream, and prepare for our futures. Middle College Academy gives us opportunities most high school students don't have. It helps us earn a college degree, earn life skills, and get ready for the real world. For many of us, this school is more than just classes. It's a place where we feel supported and encouraged to be our best. I personally have had many positive interactions with my peers and feel welcomed and safe in that environment. Losing this school isn't just about losing a building or a program. It's about losing our dreams and all the hard work we put into achieving them. Not only would you be robbing us of the opportunity to complete the journey we have begun in this program, but you would also be taking away the opportunity from future students. We've worked so hard to be here, balancing high school and college classes, staying up late to finish assignments, and pushing ourselves every day because we believe in this program. Taking it away from us would take away the chances we worked hard to Taking it away from us would take away the chances we worked so hard to earn. We're asking you, members of the board, to please think about how this decision will affect our future, us and our future students. Thank you for listening and caring about our voices.
Thank you, Sean Donna. Next, we have Nathan Shoquist.
Greeting everyone, my name is Nathan Shoquist. I am one of the first students of Middle College Academy. MCA gave me a promising, good-looking future looking forward to. Before I heard about MCA, I was originally going to Live Oak High. Then my dad heard about it, and he asked me if I wanted to go, and I said yes, and I never regretted it ever since. One way this school has provided me a great future is by achieving my goals that I never knew I could do. Another way this school has helped me is by developing critical thinking skills that I never knew I had. Lastly, Middle College Academy helped me by making new friends and meeting new people. The degree I was led to automotive, which is the degree I want to be, which is the degree I would like to be pursuing. I was intrigued by watching my dad and brothers work on their trucks and their cars. I learned basics by changing oil and changing a tire from them, but I wanted to learn more. I wanted to get a hands-on free experience, which MCA provided that experience. And for you guys, we do be taking that from me and everybody else who has a promising future is just very wrong and not right. MCA, what I learned from MCA is by developing new skills, developing more experiences. To conclude my speech today, don't shut down MCA, keep it going for further kids to have the same valuable education as that we had. Thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you, Nathan. Next, we have Jonathan Fox.
Thank you, board members and members of the crowd. In 1974, at LaGuardia Community College in New York, the middle college high school program began. And the first idea, the first concentration was for high-risk, high-ability students to bridge the gap between, secondary education and higher education. Since that time, it's expanded, taken on different prongs, different paths. It's become a path to higher education. And not only does it work with those who are high risk, high ability, it's those who are wanting to maybe cut a few years off of a degree in engineering or want to be a doctor. But it also helps those who maybe can't afford. They come right out of high school, and we see this happen. They come right out of high school and they have to get a job and support themselves because their family situation is such that there will be no support after they turn 18. When they go to MCA, they can come out with, like Nate was saying, a certification and get a jump on it. They can support themselves right out of the school. Both these prongs are very valid and they're very valuable to the students that attend the school. I know that I see you guys, I see this board, I see you stand across here, and what you do is hard, and then I see your faces as you shake hands with every student that goes through that line, and I know why you do this. You want to make their lives better. You want to give them a better future. And I would not take your job for any amount of money, and I know you don't. You do it for a higher goal. 2023, the Gold Gazette, the Appeal Democrat, the grand jury report. You can go to all these documents and see the excitement that a version of this board had for establishing this school. And in that was that same idea. Let's do something better for our students. Let's fill in the gap. Fill the gap where our traditional education is not getting these kids up into higher education. And I know that some of you were here then, some of you, it was a different version of the board, but you all share that same vision. You share that same desire that not one student does not get every chance we can give them. And that's what I would like to encourage you, is I know it's tough financially, but I've found when things get tough financially, I don't retreat. I go forward. I try to do more excellent. I try to do more things that will advance the purpose that I have. And I would encourage you each to look within yourselves and say, is going backwards going to fix the problem? Or do I need to boldly go forward and keep that commitment, not in a negative way, but in 2023.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. Kalea Gray.
My name is Kalea Gray, and I am from Middle College Academy. I wanted to talk about our community and our education and how important not only is it to us students, but to the staff as well. I want to talk about our education, how high we can achieve an associate's degree right out of high school and going straight into jobs if we need to. To think about the financial support of it right after high school and the community support of our school is greater to us than people think it means. I want to talk about our community first and how it affected each one of us students. From a personal view, I have seen myself, my friends, and other students along the community, how they have thrived and they have reached above than they usually would in other high schools or they have in the past with middle schools. I want to talk about how proud our parents are of us, how proud our staff are, and I have never been happier in any place than my school. To know that we have a community that supports us, a community we could go to whenever we needed help, somewhere we can learn just more than education, how we can learn from each other, how we can lean on each other, means more to me than anybody could ever know. We can always support each other in an educational way as well. In our education, we all know that we get associate's degree right after high school. And as said before, that we can go straight into jobs after we graduate. Knowing the financial support right now in this country, in this world, and how there's people out there that struggle every day, to know that we would thrive, to know that we would have support means the most. I know this isn't much to say, but to me, this school means everything, from things I've learned like painting or socializing or speaking in public settings properly, or from extending my languages into things I could never known. I wanted to thank Middle College Academy for who I am today and how this place has brought me joy and education and friends that I could never have asked for. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalea. Raymond Starr.
Hello, everyone. Before I begin, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Raymond Starr, and I'm a student here at the Middle College Academy. I'm pursuing a degree in environmental science because my goal is to work in one of the fields of arboriculture where my dad works, so he can hopefully get me better help later in life or help me get a position better. And the credits I earn toward my associate's degree are transferable to prestigious universities such as UC Berkeley or UC Davis, which I'm considering to study at after my AA degree. This unique associate's degree, which is only available through this program, will place me far ahead compared to someone who simply completes high school. The smaller class sizes and the abundance of resources and support offered here make this program ideal for students who are ready to unlock their full potential. Earning an associate's degree right out of high school sets me apart from other high school graduates. Employers highly value candidates who go the extra mile and strive for excellence. In essence, the opportunities offered here, combined with the resources available and the advantage of an AA degree, are unparalleled. Students in this academy are equipped to achieve extraordinary things, and with continued support, you might be shaping some of the most influential people of tomorrow, possibly even a future board member here. Thank you for your time.
Chanel, Sean, Nathan, Jonathan, Kalea, and Raymond, thank you for sharing your thoughts, and we appreciate what you had to say, and you've been acknowledged by the board. Thank you. Moving on to superintendent updates.
Well, I'd like to thank Marysville Joint Unified School District for letting me serve you for the last 3 months. And what I tell people, that my friends and family, Marysville Joint Unified School District is a place to love, even with its challenges. And but I just can't say enough about how much of a family Marysville Joint Unified School District has felt to me, and how well received I've been, and just the smiles and trying to move forward, and the resiliency is remarkable. So, but with that, we've had a couple of tragedies and we've lost some students. So I'd like to take a moment of silence for Jaden Jordan, a 6th grader who passed away. He attended Cedar Lane, and he was a twin. Wesley Cornett and Andrew Cornett. Wesley was an 11th grader at South Lyndhurst High, and Andrew Cornett had graduated from our district a couple years ago. So I'd like to take a moment of silence, if we may. Thank you. Been a pleasure.
Now we move on to number 11, presentations. This is 11.1, presentation with Christy White and Associates on the 23-24 Independent Auditors Report. Jennifer?
Yes, thank you. I believe Heather's joining us through Zoom to present our 23-24 audited financials.
Hi, good evening. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Oh, good evening. Can everybody hear me? Okay, I'll jump right into it. I would like to just move on to page 80, which is a good summary page of the audit report. My name is Heather Rubio, and I'm the lead partner on the 2024 audit. The first part is the 2024 financial audit. The first part is we issued an unmodified opinion, which is the best opinion you can get on your financial statements. Essentially, that's saying that we agree with all the numbers in the financial statements. The numbers you approved as a board in the unaudited actuals back in October or late September, early October of 2024, those are the numbers that we audit and then determine if there should be any adjustments and what the controls that go into those numbers. And again, an unmodified opinion, which is the best opinion you can get. We also determined that there were no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies or instances of non-compliance. Just kind of a little bit of what we do to get it, that opinion. We do a number of procedures in understanding the controls over the financial statements, which is the process of journal entries, which is your bank reconciliations, recording all the money coming in, and then the process for all the, cash disbursements, all the money going out. Do you have the correct controls, and are all the sign-offs there? Are, segregation of duties, and are the expenditures allowable? And so a number of tests go into determining that. And again, you guys did very well. And also because you're a school district, you're subject to another audit, and that is a federal audit. The Office of Management and Budget determines what programs essentially get audited and how they get audited. This year, the program that was selected was your Education Stabilization Fund discretionary grants, otherwise known as your ESSER funds. Really heavy, detailed testing on what you spent the money on. And we are looking at the support for that. We pull a number of expenditures, determine if they're allowable per the guidance, the federal guidance. And I'm happy to say you received an unmodified opinion with no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. Best opinion you can get. In addition, because you get state funds, there's another audit you're subjected to. Every year, the state puts out an audit guide, and there's detailed testing required. That audit guide changes every year. And so when there's change in legislation, there's change in the audit guide. A perfect example is 2 new additional programs. That is your Proposition 28 Arts and Music Grant and your Extended Learning Opportunity Program, or ELOP. So those 2 were added to a number of procedures like attendance, Williams quarterly complaints, the school accountability report cards. Those are just to name a few. Very difficult area to get a perfect score in, per se, because one, a lot of these rules are being ironed out and requirements as the programs are being implemented almost in real time. And I want to say that this district did a wonderful job in that area we have no findings in this section, a really hard area to have no findings in. And so this year there were no findings and no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. This district does a really good job of reaching out to us and asking us the questions, and when they're implementing the new programs and feedback and how to do this and making sure they have what they need. So that is the summary of the audit, and I'd be happy to answer any questions on any of the pages or anything about our procedures.
Well, Chrissy, it's always a pleasure getting to talk to you at this time of year. Thank you very much for all that you do. Board members, do we have any questions regarding the presentation?
No questions.
Looks like we don't have any questions, Christy. Very thorough. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to 11.2, Yuba County Office of Education Superintendent Search Update. Mary Hang?
Good evening, Board of Trustee. I'm here to provide an update on the MJUSD Superintendent search. I just wanted to remind the board members that a survey was sent out, and if you can please review the survey and complete it. It is very important for us to get feedback from our board, the Board of Trustees. Next, you guys have the brochure in front of you. If after reviewing that, if you have any suggestions or revisions, if we can get those feedback back to Haley Pomeroy, our executive assistant, by Thursday, January 30th, that would be awesome. As you all know, the application period is January 31st to March 21st. So on that, we have the adjoint application, which is the portal that we will be utilizing to accept application for individuals who are interested in the superintendent position. And that opens up on January 31st, 2025, this Friday. And it will close at 5 p.m. on Friday, March 21st. So that is the period that the board has elected for. And so we will have the adjoint application ready to go. In regards to publicization of the opening of the application period, we are ready to go for posting the position on AXA, which is the Association of California School Administrators. It will be ready to go on their February 3rd printed publication. And so that will be going out throughout the state of California. In addition to that, we do also have the online posting through that agency as well, and that stays on their website for 30 days. In addition to that, we'll also be doing a press release to Appellate Democrat, letting them know of the application period for any interested individuals to apply. And the third avenue that we are also working on is the School Services of California. We will also be posting that through School Services of California, and that is for a 30-day posting as well, and that would start February 3rd as well. Okay. Also, we are working on a timeline, and Superintendent Rob Greger will be sharing that with your board contact in the near future to look over the timeline, make sure we have captured what the board wants with the timeline. Okay, with that being said, are there any questions?
Does the board have any questions?
Oh, sorry. Mary, would you like to share the 2 dates of the community meetings that have been set up, please?
I was going to say, that lies with Amy North.
Good evening. Yes, happy to share that we do have those community forums set up. So we have Tuesday, February 18th. That first one will be at Marysville High School, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Wednesday, the 19th, and that will be at Lyndhurst High School, same time, 5:30 to 6:30. The following evening is the community forum, and that will be at the Polar Bear Room at the Yuba County Career Preparatory Charter School, same time, 5:30 to 6:30. So we have a draft timeline ready for you. Our superintendent, unfortunately, is out of town. He's attending the state superintendent's meeting this week, but we will get that to you. I would look for that the next day or two. So if you can review that timeline and get back to us, that way we can move forward, and that will all be included in the press release. And then we'll get the materials out through social media and through the district to push that information to parents. Any questions?
Thank you, Amy and Mary. You know what, in my 19 years of being and working with schools, this is a very good snapshot of what we represent. And members of the public, teachers, staff, take a look at this. This is pretty good stuff in here. Something that we're all very proud of, so a job very well done. Where at Marysville High School on the 18th is the meeting at?
Right.
Has that been determined yet?
Find out from Anna.
Library, okay. Lyndhurst C108. And will this be posted on our website for community to go ahead and access so we have availability?
Yes, we'll also push it out through social media. We'll have different versions in different languages to get out to the community. So we will look to the district to push those flyers out, but that will have all of the information as far as the specific location at each site.
Would we be able to post this as well for the community to see on the website too? This is great.
Yes, we definitely plan on that.
Very, very well done. Thank you very much. This is incredible.
You're welcome. Your district has a lot of really great things to share, so you should be really proud of the programs and things that you offer to our community.
So if you go to our website and you go to board and you scroll down, the last bullet says superintendent search, where you can keep up to date on what's happening.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Moving on to 11.3, presentation for the compliance of pupil textbook and instructional materials incentive program. Miss Amy Stratton. Hi, Amy.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about how we distribute our textbooks to our students and make sure that our processes are understandable and clear. So we are required as a district, and we joyfully make sure that all of our kids have textbooks. That is our goal, to make sure that everyone has the resources that they need, and it, of course, is required by Ed Code. So we usually start in the summer. We project how many books we anticipate our students need. We order those textbooks, the ones that we need to order. And before school begins, we try to get all of those books. We work really hard at getting all those books out into the classrooms. Warehouse is really busy moving thousands and thousands of books. When school starts, then we start working on making sure our kids have books. During the summer, we're doing projections. And so when school starts, we have real numbers. We start the process of moving books, ordering more books if we need more books, trying to make sure that the resources are where they need to be. And then, because we are a community that gets new students all year long, every time a new student enters the schools and we need them to move books, we spend all year moving books. This is something we do all year long. To kind of get a sense of the books that we are putting in the hands of kids, we provide hardbound books. Sometimes they're consumables. The consumables are the ones that the kids can write in and take home and they keep. And we also work on making sure that our kids have online access. When possible, on subscriptions, if it's a new adoption, we will actually do subscriptions where if there's a consumable material, we receive those new books every year. So again, those books are moved into classrooms throughout the summer and throughout the year as we need them. Because of, you'll notice in the last column where it says fiscal impact, I'm going to go to the next slide and I'll come right back. We purchase our books based on the adoption cycle set by the state of California. The books are usually purchased every 8 years, but because of the pandemic and the interruption in education, the state of California is behind. And so we should have already been in our new math curriculum. We should have been year 2 in math curriculum at this point. But it's not going to be until the next school year that the list of approved textbooks will be available for the state of California, and the following school year, the 26-27 school year, before we purchase new books for math. So everything is kind of delayed because of the pandemic, which as a result means those columns towards the bottom where you see history and social studies, where it says subscriptions, the books that we purchased were on an 8-year subscription. Because of the fact that the delay in adoption, we are now purchasing math curriculum for all students every year, and we're also purchasing all the online resources and consumables for language arts. So these are ongoing costs that we are responsible for. This last school year, for the things that we had to purchase, we spent just over $900,000 to ensure our kids have the curriculum that they need. And then next year, of course, we will be doing a similar purchase. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
Yes, you said that you were behind, so as a result of you actually,
Yeah,
so as you will be actually caught up now. So would you be able to skip those other areas, those other years?
So how the state does their adoption cycles is that every 8 years, the state of California picks the curriculum in which they're going to build a new framework for, put forth the directions to the publishers on what's required in our curriculum. Then that curriculum goes to a state review where educators from all over the state confirm that all the requirements are met. And then the state approves a list of textbooks that are verified to meet the requirements set forth in the framework. That happens every 4 years or every 8 years for every subject in a specific order. And so because of the pandemic, there was a delay. And so math was just approved, the framework was just approved. I think it was last year. The publishers are submitting their curriculum now. This next summer, they go to review, and next fall, the state list will be approved, which allows us to then go out and start looking at new curriculum to replace. So every subject area goes through the same process. So this next adoption is math, and then following math is language arts. And then following language arts, I think there's a gap. There's like foreign language, VAPA, and then the following that year will be history, social studies, and then science. So there's just a system to it. Yes?
I'm just trying to digest that 904,000 a year. Could you scoot the slide over back one on which shows the ongoing costs right there? So of that 904, only the purchases are not part of that 904. Is that correct, if I read that chart correctly?
The purchases are the 904.
Oh, the purchases are.
The subscriptions are free, the ones that we get free for the remaining of the subscription.
Oh, okay. So I'm reading it upside down. Okay.
Yeah.
So the case, the ELA case 6, the intensive reading, and the math K8 are purchased. Are those ongoing purchases, or those are one-time costs to us?
They will be ongoing purchase until the next adoption cycle.
So that explains. Okay, so that's what you're trying to say is
Yes.
that because we missed the 8-year window.
The
not
state of
because us.
California, yeah.
When I say we, I'm saying the collective citizens of California allowing Sacramento to miss the adoption cycle. No? Angela's shaking her head.
What had happened was, due to the pandemic, the work on the framework was stopped.
Okay.
And then when the pandemic, when we started opening up, the work continued, but there was a lot of controversy around the actual math framework, which delayed it some more. And so we don't get new adoptions until the framework has been approved, and then the curriculum goes through all the rigorous review.
But that's not a fault of us, it's the fault of California.
It is not, but as a result, though, we have ongoing costs.
Yeah. So that ongoing cost, is that an unfunded cost from the state of California?
It is funded through our textbook money, our lottery money for textbooks.
But this was that above and beyond cost?
It is our
funding?
existing funding.
It's just the existing fund. So this is the impact of California not adopting those.
Yes.
The framework.
Yes.
Okay. So when do we expect that comes off of our ongoing purchases?
It just means that the money we have set aside for purchasing new curriculum, that's the money we're pulling against. And so when we get to the point where we're actually adopting math curriculum, we just have to make sure we have enough money to cover it. And then the following year when we do ELA, it's the same thing. And so they're pricey. Whenever we adopt a curriculum, it's pretty expensive. And so these ongoing costs is actually just eating at that pot of money we have set aside for curriculum for future purchases.
Okay, yeah, so that leads me to the question, the next question I have, which is, it's eating out of that pot. What's the risk of us eating too much of the pot because of this ongoing cost?
We have to still put curriculum in the hands of kids. We have to find the money to put the curriculum in hands of kids.
Is the risk high or is the risk low that we would have to find additional money to cover the, because if you go back, that 904, what that says is that potentially we're going to be spending another million next year, right? And then
Absolutely.
Was that million spent last year as well?
Last year, we only had to buy math curriculum because we were still in our ELA subscription.
Okay,
This year,
so-
we were out of the subscription for ELA.
So when do we expect the state of California to get the math standards to be updated?
The math curriculum is in state review now.
Okay.
It'll be reviewed this summer, right? Yeah. And the framework has been adopted. The publishers have submitted their curriculum, and they go to review this summer through their committees.
So potentially we would have another million of ongoing costs. I'm rounding that number up, and then another $500,000 for ELA the following year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus the cost of the math adoption.
Yeah. The large purchase, and not wipe out our textbook budget. Okay.
Amy, I have a quick question. I'm a parent. I want to review the curriculum. How do I go about doing that?
First thing, you would go to the school sites and ask to have access to the curriculum. And if the school doesn't have an extra book sitting there, they would contact Ed Services, and we would provide the textbook for review.
What if I can't get there?
I'm sorry, what?
What if I can't get there?
We would work with the parent to figure out how to get the resources.
Should we be posting a link on the curriculum online?
With the curriculum online is protected. You would have to have a password to get into it.
Okay. Because I know there's nothing posted yet, so on the website. So I was just wondering what if
We have some resources, but you're not going to see the full breadth of the curriculum.
I'm just hypothetically here, when I get calls from parents and stuff to ask, and I fumble around for the question. So they're the answer to the question. So no, it should be, in my mind, it should be attainable and available to all just for questions. So
Yes.
Is that something we could at least look into so I can get back with my constituents?
Well, in terms of having it available online?
Yeah.
Again, that would be a conversation with the publishers to see if they would give us access. I mean, that's
Perfect.
the best we could do.
It's copyrighted. If we were to put it online, the actual text, no one would buy it anymore. They'd all steal it. So they don't put that online, the actual textbooks online because of copyright issues. So they'll explain part of what it is. They'll show you what the chapters are about, but actually seeing the text itself, it's going to be hard to
No, I don't think they were referring that to be like a huge library. It's more of the what book, publisher, here's what we're using, et cetera. And if we're going after this, assuming that most of these here are already, the curriculum is already just revised curriculum. So, I mean, that's just a question. I get it. I just didn't have the answer. So those of you out there to have that. And we have a hand, yes.
I swear I'm trying to be helpful this time. Well, I'm helpful all the time. I don't know what I'm talking about. So considering that I go to State Board of Education meetings all the time, what I can tell you is that as far as the adoption, like what Amy and Brian are both saying is absolutely true. Like if we tried to put up like, here's a link to all the curriculum and anybody who goes on our website can have it, the publishers would probably really be angry with us. They would not be happy. But with the State Board of Education, whenever they put out who they think, or not think, whoever they approve, as here's the list of approved vendors, approved curriculum for K-8, they put that out. Typically within that, they do have something in which parents can go in and at least see something publicly. But they also then will also have a link within that too, in which parents can reach out to the publisher and say, I would actually like to see more than what is publicly available on the CDE site. Then you turn around and you do the same thing. So when you do the 912 adoption, at 912, we don't necessarily have to go with anything that's on a state list because they don't provide a state list for 9 through 12. You do much the same thing on your district end at that point in time. Your adoption committee would bring forward, here are the 3 that we're looking at, and you would follow basically that same process. So that there is a way to do that. The state does recognize that parents are going to want more than like a little, one-page pamphlet that goes out that says, here's the curriculum in 3 easy slides. They may want more info than that. So there is a way to get it.
Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Any questions from the board? Amy, I think you have the next presentation as well, the annual update of local control accountability plan.
Yes, I
LCAP.
do.
Go ahead.
So at the middle of the school year, before the end of February, we are required to provide the board and the public an update on where we are in terms of our state testing and our LCAP. So tonight we're going to talk about our state school results, our district results. We're going to look at the updates and talk about our goals and our expenses. So first we're going to talk about the dashboard. Just a reminder of how the dashboard works. You have the gauges at the bottom going from red to blue. Our goal is not to be in red. Our goal is to be closer to blue whenever possible. And so red is the lower performance and blue is your higher performance. So as we go through the slides, kind of keep that in mind. Our dashboard is kind of like the district's report card. It tells our community, our parents, our students, how we're doing in all of the areas in which are evaluated. The state will look at 6 different measures. They look at the academic and language arts and math, chronic absenteeism, how our EL learners are doing, which is our LPAC, which they call it ELPI. They'll look at the graduation rate, suspension rate, college and career readiness, and then starting next year, you're going to start getting a color for science. Also evaluated is what's called our local indicators. And so that's a report that you will see in June on how we were doing on our local indicators, which are how we evaluate ourselves. And all of this is reported annually on the state dashboard. Also reported on the state dashboard are the 14 subgroups that exist in the state of California. Not every district has all 14, but these are the 14 subgroups. What was added this year was long-term English learners. It's a new subgroup that appeared. And then also in order to get data results, you have to have a minimum number of students, is 30. But for students experiencing homelessness, they actually have a smaller group. You just have to have 14 kids to get a color. So what's new on the dashboard? Science, we have our baseline for science. You're going to get colors next year. Also what's new is there's a link to the website or a link to our PDF of our LCAP. So any district in California, you can look at their LCAP from the dashboard. Long-term English learners were added as a subgroup for the first time. The state also did some updates to differentiated assistance. That is where the state receives services and supports if our dashboard indicators are not doing as well. And then, of course, the 5x5 chart, which is how you get your color indicator, has become available for college and career because we now have 2 years of data. So this chart is not our schools. It's just a chart that demonstrates how the colors are assigned. This chart is for chronic absenteeism. So in chronic absenteeism and suspension, we actually want the scores to decline is good, increase is bad. We want them to go the opposite direction. So in this case, we have 2 schools, the purple school and the pink school. In the purple, we want our schools to actually be as high as the top row and then further to the right. Top row further to the right is where we strive to be. So looking at the purple school, they're in the second row, which is pretty high, but they moved backwards. Their chronic absenteeism increased. So that got them a color of yellow. When compared to the pink school, they are below, they're middle of the road, but they declined, which means the direction they wanted to go. They got a color of green. And so the point of this slide is to show you that the scores are based on a comparison. It is what's called a growth model. The colors are designed to show you if you are growing from year to year or going backwards from year to year. So just because the purple school is higher on the chart they actually have a lower color because they went backwards. And so it is very possible when you start looking at the colors of our indicators, just realize the colors are based on how the indicator changed from the year prior. So that is it's just kind of a little picture on how the colors are determined based on the growth model. So you could have a high color and still be kind of low on the chart. It just means that you're making significant growth and you're being rewarded for that growth. Okay? So looking at our results, language arts, the overall district was in orange. For math was in orange, science was no color. Our ELO, our English learners was in orange, our graduation rate was a green. College and career indicator was in orange, chronic absenteeism was a yellow, and suspension rate was a yellow. So as a district, we had no reds. Looking a little deeper, language arts, we were 50.8 points below standards, which was an increase of 2.5 points. If you look, you can see the subgroups and what color the subgroups had. But what's interesting is if for language arts, if we had grown just a half point more, we would have shifted into yellow. So we were pretty close to going up one more band. For mathematics, we are 90.4 points below standard, which is a decrease of 0.8. Again, you can see our subgroups that were red and orange. Had we grown 3.8 points higher, we would have shifted into yellow. Science, we just have the baseline, and that's where our baseline, our subgroups landed. We were 19.9 points below standard. ELPI, we decreased 3.5 points. If we had had 23 more students make progress, we would have been in the yellow. Graduation rate, we had no subgroups in red, which was great. We increased 1.1% with the 86.1% graduation rate. Had we had 32 more students graduate, we would have been in the blue. College and career indicator is a complicated indicator. There are many ways to get the status of prepared. Over on the left side, you can see the different avenues a student could get to be prepared for college. And over on the right side is the different avenues for preparedness for career. With that being said, we had 22.2% of our students considered prepared, which was a slight decrease of 0.9%. You can see our subgroup there. If we'd had 21 more students prepared, we would have been in the yellow. Chronic absenteeism, remember, we want a decline is the way we want to go. This is opposite world. So we had a decline of 5.4% on our chronic absenteeism. You can see our subgroups. Again, you'll notice no red subgroups. The next color, green, would have been a little further away. We needed 977 fewer students for chronic absenteeism in order to make it to the green. So that one was pretty far. Our suspension rate, same thing. We want that to go down. So we have a 0.5 decrease. We have long-term English learners in the red. And had we had 187 fewer students suspended one time, we would have been green. If you take all the colors and assign a number, like red was 1, orange was 2, yellow was 3, did the average, Marysville Joint would have averaged 2.6. State of California averaged 2.7. And Yuba County averages 3.0. Using that, if looking across the state of California and compare ourselves to 25 similar school districts, meaning districts that have an enrollment of about 7,500 to 15,000, with an unduplicated count of about 60 to 80%. There's about 25 similar districts. If we compare our results to those 25 similar districts and rank them in order, number 1 being the top, 25 being the bottom, in language arts, we would have been the 6th highest. In math, the 11th highest. We don't have an indicator for science. For our English learners, the 12th highest. Graduation rate, the 5th highest. College and careers down to 21.
Chronic absenteeism, we did the best out of the 25 similar schools. And suspension rate, we would have been ninth, or we are ninth. I think I'm missing a slide somewhere. Looking at our schools, I'm just going to give you the colors. Here's all of our elementary schools. ELA's math, ELPI is your EL students, then chronic absenteeism and suspension rate. So again, we would like to have something other than red when possible. Our goal is to have no reds. If they're blank, it means that that school doesn't get that indicator, probably because there's not enough students to report. And here's a picture of our high schools. Added in there is your graduation rate. You'll notice that the high schools, they don't have a chronic absenteeism rate. That's not a rate, a qualifier for high school, but you see it in Abraham Lincoln and the arts because they do have students up through 8th grade. Here's the slide that I thought was missing. If we take the same thing where we add and average the numbers, here are how our subgroups are doing. So at the bottom of the pack is our homeless African American and foster youth. And then right above there's our long-term English learners, students with disabilities, socioeconomically disadvantaged. In terms of differentiated assistance, Marysville Joint Unified School District has moved out of the DTA, which is the technical assistance, just back into differentiated assistance, which is a lower level of assistance. This year we're in DA for our long-term English learners in our ELA. For math, homeless and long-term English learners, college and careers homeless, and our suspension rate is long-term English learners. So those are the subgroups that are showing the least amount of academic growth, or college, career, and suspension. So also we need to do a mid-year update on how we are doing on the LCAP. Just a reminder that we have 7 goals on the LCAP. The first goal is academic. The second goal is safety. Third goal is college and career readiness. Our fourth goal is supports for English learners. Fifth goal is to improve communication, home to school relationships. Sixth goal is for improve access for special education. And our 7th goal is only for our 3 schools that receive equity multiplier funds. The budget you see over on the right side is how much that appears in LCAP. And over on the left is how much we've spent through December through our first interim reporting. In terms of the goal, how we are doing towards our expectation, the target over on the far right is a judgment on how we're doing based off of our California dashboard, as well as some of our local indicator, our local data that we're using in terms of the different things we're monitoring for the LCAP. So for the first goal, academics, I would say we're probably at the maintenance level. We're kind of doing what we're doing. Where there's not any huge gains, but there's signs of a little bit of growth, but we're kind of statistically probably at maintained. In terms of safety, there's a slight growth when looking at our suspension rate and our chronic absenteeism, but we do see some growth there. College and career readiness, when we're looking at internal data, we have a lot more kids inside of our CTE classes doing dual enrollment. Our AP is up. So we see some slight increases there. We have seen a decrease, a little decrease, a dip in our English learner scores. So we're bolstering those up right now with some additional supports. Our home to school relationship, we've seen a slight growth. We judge this by some of our internal data in terms of like our our parent portals, how many parents are on parent portal, our communication with parents through Parent Square and such. And then special ed, we're kind of maintaining our goals right there. That one is really about transportation, and we're providing them about the same amount of transportation. And our 7th one, we don't really have a lot right now to look at because it's our first year of implementation. Here is our LCAP schedule. We are currently meeting with our educational partners. We have a survey available online. We're collecting data. In March, we're going to review the data with our educational partners. April, we're going to start working on the narratives and getting the budget revisions in based on our feedback we've gotten from our educational partners. May, we will present a draft to our educational partners, our various committees. In June, it gets to the board, and by July, it's approved by Yuba County Office of Ed. Questions? That was a long one. Yes.
Could you go back to the slide that shows us the comparative performance between the 25 equal districts, similar districts?
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to understand the 25 similar district. That is, what was the criteria that was used to find those 25? So I know one is population.
One's population, and the other is the unduplicated rate.
Say that again?
Unduplicated rate.
Unduplicated rate. Oh, okay. So it doesn't account for, let's say, socioeconomic status, for example.
Well, the unduplicated rate is socioeconomic status, English learners, and our foster youth.
Oh, okay. Okay. So those districts will have similar disadvantages in terms of needs.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm a little bit surprised that we're almost dead last at college and career.
Yeah.
So we're 21st out of that group. Our math has always been terrible. So and if you scroll back to the math slides, the slide that showed the math for everybody, the one that shows everybody actually,
that one?
the elementaries, even looking at our math here, it looks like we're slipping behind, right? If I understand the colors correctly, orange means we're going the wrong direction still.
Yeah, because we had a decrease. So yeah, it was a slight decrease.
And so, in our LCAP, it was just the general broad improvement of academics.
Yeah.
So was there more focus on improving our math scores at all, or?
No, that's one of the things that when it's just general academics, and that's one of those things when we talk about the committee work that we're doing, we can add another goal that's specific to math if we choose to do so.
Okay, for the next LCAP, because the next LCAP is coming up, right?
We could add a goal for next year, or
Okay.
add an action for next year, not a goal, but an action.
Okay. And then for the college and career, do we have a sense of what's dragging us down in terms of that score?
I could certainly work on doing a deeper dive and pulling some of the state reports that show what kids qualified for various ways, because it's a complicated indicator. So for example, if a kid scored 3 or 4 on both math and language arts on the CASP, it's automatic. But if they take like one AP test and they get a 3, they have to have a second qualifier in order to be prepared. So it's kind of a complicated indicator. But I could certainly dig a little deeper and see if I could disaggregate that some for you.
Well, I just like to get a good sense of what is our gaps of those 6 items for college and the 5 items for career. And it may be that's all of them, right? It's all 11.
It's probably all of it. It's probably a little here, a little there throughout all of it.
Okay. Yeah, because 21 out of 25 summer schools is very terrible. And my large concern behind that is college and career is what pays the taxes, right? Individuals getting a career when they come out, right? And if we're not preparing students for careers, it's not looking good as a school district.
Yeah.
And to be 21 out of 25 schools, it looks terrible. I don't want to look at who the 4 schools are behind us, but it would be good to get a good sense of those 11 indicators. Are we behind everywhere, or are we not? Or are we only behind in some cases in order for us to try to redirect some resources to address college and career?
I could pull some of that for you.
Okay.
And send you to that, send you that.
Do we have any other questions from the board? No. Thank you so much, Amy. Appreciate your help. Moving on, number 12. Thank you. Moving on, number 12.1, approval of January 14th, 2025, regular board meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the January 14th, 2025 regular board minutes? A motion from Mr. Fuhrer and a second from Seth Steinman. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 7-7. Moving on to 12.2, approval of consent agenda items. We will now approve consent agenda items 14.1 through 17.11. Is there any item that the board would like to pull for further clarification? If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? That was Mr. Oliver. And a second.
Second.
Second? Okay, Mr. Galicia. Thank you. Motion to approve the consent agenda. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion carries 7-7. Yes, so number 18.1 is going to be pulled from the agenda. 18.1 is pulled. And moving to 20, new business ed services, 20.1, public hearing and approval of the resolution 2024-25/10 for compliance with Pupil Textbook and Instructional Materials Incentive Program Act. This is an actionable item. Purpose of this agenda is the agenda item to request additional public hearing and approve resolution 2024-25/10 certifying that the funds earmarked for the instructional materials are expended in compliance with the Pupil Textbook and Instructional Materials Incentive Act. The resolution ensures that each pupil has sufficient standards, aligned instructional materials consistent with the content and cycles of the curriculum frameworks adopted by the State Board of Education. Do I have a motion to approve? Well, hold your motion. Amy's going to present something.
No, I was just going to ask you to approve the motion.
Public hearing. Public hearing. Public hearing.
I'm just here to answer questions if you have them.
Yeah.
Public hearing.
Yeah.
We have to get public hearing.
Let's see. Oh, I may, just a second here. Oh, here we go. Apologize. It's only Tuesday. We'll now hold a public hearing after the presentation from Amy. Go ahead, Amy.
So we looked at the presentation of how we put curriculum in the hands of students. All of our students have curriculum. And I would like this approve the resolution.
Do we have any public comments from the audience? No? Now, can I get a motion to close the public hearing? Seth Steeman, motion, and a second from Dr. Yang. To close public hearing, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries 7-7. And now can I have a motion to approve the resolution for 2024-25/10, compliance with the Pupil Textbook and Instructional Materials Incentive Program Act? Thank you, Dr. Yang. Motion and a second from Mr. Fuhr. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nay. Motion carries 7-7. New business, none. Number 22, new business services. 22.1, approve the amendment of the right-of-way contract with the State of California Department of Transportation. And we have a representative.
Hi. Oh, yep, we have Mr. Knutson here from Caltrans to talk about and give us an update on the roadway out in front of the district office. And then we ask that you approve the contract, the amended contract, when we're done.
Thank you.
Cameron Knutson. I have 6 children, all of them graduates of Marysville High School, and I appreciate all the educators that were here. My wife has worked with the district as a paraeducator for many, many years, and so appreciate the district, and we have a long history here in the community. So this project is very near and dear to my heart. I'm a project manager for Caltrans over this project, and I've been with the board, or to the board, a couple of times to discuss it, but some of you are new. I appreciate the staff. They've been excellent to work with as we've come to them and talked about the project and asked them questions and needs of the project. So wonderful staff that we've been working with. So this project, you guys got a little teeny 8.5 by 11 paper, but the project's pretty complicated. We're gonna build the project goes from south of 14th Street up to just north of the train bridge. This is a Benny Junction bridge at this end. There's the Marysville underpass or the can opener over here with the tunnel. And then Benny Junction is the north bridge. There's 2 structures there currently. This project will widen the road there'll be 2 lanes in each direction, beginning at 14th Street. So we'll extend those 2 lanes that are coming northbound all the way through. Currently it ends just after 14th Street down by the ballpark and the Dollar Tree. We'll go through, we're going to lower the road. The can opener will have to be renamed because there will be 17 feet, 6 inches of vertical clearance. So we shouldn't have things hit the bridge. I'm not gonna say never because somebody might challenge that, but it shouldn't happen very often. And so I'm used to using a mouse. I'm kind of old school. Let's see. He's got one for me. My hero. Thank you. Let's see here. So this is what the new project. So it's called the Benny Junction Complete Streets and Complete Streets project. And some of the things that we're really proud about the project. One, it's going to fix that tunnel, get rid of the tunnel, so we'll have sidewalks, bicycle paths, so drastically improve the pedestrian and bicyclists' ability to go through. We're going to have sidewalks and bike paths on both sides of the road, from 14th Street up through 24th Street. We're going to add a new signal. Right now there's a crosswalk. It's uncontrolled. There is some flashing beacons at 16th Street, but we're going to put a signal there to assist people coming through. That help traffic move in and out. We're going to close 17th Street, which goes by the Veterans Hall, because the road will be significantly lower, about 6 feet. But the pedestrian access will continue down there. They can walk. Great thing, they can walk on both sides of the road. We're going to improve the signal at 18th Street. And at 18th Street, I don't know if, so another thing at 18th Street, right now you have one lane basically that goes, you can go turn left or turn right, all from the same lane. We're going to have 2 lanes One will be a left turn lane only, and the other lane will be a left or a right turn lane. So we'll be able to move the traffic out of the area, out of the school much more efficiently. And then the traffic coming into the school will be just one lane. There's a bus stop here currently. It's going to get relocated somewhere over here. We're working with UBSutter Transit. We're also adding sidewalk down Chestnut Street on this side. Last year you saw us build these pump plants for the project. We're going to build new bridges. This is where the existing bridge is, and this is the new bridge. So it's just to the north. So the trains will be running the whole time while we're constructing these projects, building these projects. Let me zoom out here just a little bit. The green indicates all the railroad tracks that we're going to be realigning. These are retaining walls to minimize the impacts to these properties, the UBSutter Transit and the charter or the youth center. And there's one over by the ball field, the Little League ball field, and one down 24th Street. So the reason that we're here tonight is to the property acquisition that we need on 24th Street. So up on the levee, there's currently a floodgate that when the high water comes, there's a dam that they put across the railroad tracks and the trains can't go through. So here's the floodgate indicated there. Because of the utility relocation that needed to happen for the project and the sensitivity of the cemetery, we had to move our planned location from here back about 100 feet. And that required some changing of the levee, where the levee is. And so we had to push that fill because the requirements of the fill came down into where 24th Street is now. And so we had to shift the road over. And so that's what the acquisition, the amendment to our agreement in the past is for the property for this and some utility easements, which we had part of that. But anyway, that's the main thing, some temporary construction easements and the acquisition of that. So it looks like it's over the ball field. There's no impacts to the ball field. Everything is is back behind the ball fields. We're not going to be touching the fences or anything. It's just kind of the wasteland back there that's just is annoying to maintain. So what this allowed us to do is to continue sidewalks down 24th Street all the way. Currently, the sidewalk ends here on this side. I think this is Triplet. And then it ends just past the daycare center here. So the project now will connect the sidewalk all the way to here, to the where it ends, and then all the way to Triplet Way. So we're gonna make that nice, as well as improve the bike paths as well. So we're gonna come down off the levee. A lot of the people walk and ride bikes up here. They continue on currently and ride across here, but that's illegal. This is not meant for a pedestrian crossing. It's a maintenance levee road. So we're providing them a paved path down to connect to the bike paths that we have here, and they can connect to the sidewalk and stuff up north and go north if they want. So that's why we needed to come back and get additional land. The project schedule we were supposed to start already. We were planning on starting, basically now. But we are still in negotiation with the railroad and the Army Corps of Engineers and Central Valley Flood Protection Board. We are moving this levee a little bit to the east. This is the Finger levee. And so we're moving that a little bit. There's Army Corps of Engineers did a study 2010, I believe, and there's a seepage issue that now that I'm doing this project, we get to take care of. for them. You've seen the levee improvements that the Army Corps of Engineers has been doing all around the Marysville Ring levee. And this is the most probably complicated place, and they saved that to last. And so we get to do it now. So we're working with them on permits. We're also working with the railroad to get approval on our structure design and the track realignment, all that stuff. They have some pretty stringent standards and very fun to negotiate with. So we're working with them. That's what's kind of delaying things now, is those agreements. So we're hoping to start in the fall with that, with our construction. We'll see how that goes. And our first order of work is to build all the structure stuff, all the bridges, the retaining walls, and then we'll be able to relocate the tracks and stuff the next season stuff. We're planning on about 3 seasons, 450 working days, so we think it can be done in about 3 seasons, 3 years essentially. And so the road work is going to be, after we get the new structures, is when we're going to start doing a lot of the major road work, where we lower the roads the majority of the way and stuff. So that'll be kind of the last season once we get the trains relocated on the new tracks and the new structures. So I'm ready for some questions about the project, if you have any. I've rattled a little bit, threw out a lot of information.
Do we have any questions from the board? Mr. Fuhrer?
I'm sorry. I was just curious how long Highway 70 would be closed once you guys started working on the road.
So the highway is going to...
Route 70, my bad.
It's all right. It's going to stay open while we're constructing. We're working with the city and the contractor. There may be some times where we will temporarily close the highway, but right now the plan is to keep the highway open 2 lanes at least, as it is now. All the time, if we do closures, that construction work and those closures will be done during the evening and to be handled under one-way reversing traffic control. So we close 1 lane, everybody will take turns driving in the other lane. So that's the current plan, but we are looking at some ways to expedite the construction. And so if we can close the highway for a period of time and reroute the traffic a little bit, some detours, that will significantly decrease the construction time and the inconvenience for everybody and get us in and out faster. 3 years doesn't sound like very fast, but this is super, super complex project. Most complex I've done in 26 years work.
Is there a public phase calendar for this?
Public?
Yeah.
So we had a public meeting on the 7th of November to just kind of go over it. We had to redo some of the environmental document process. The city of Marysville sued Caltrans, sued our environmental document and won, and so we had to redo that process. And as part of that, we had a public meeting on the 7th. It was in the newspaper and stuff.
But more in regard to the phases of the construction, is there a calendar for that? What?
Not yet, because we have it phased out how we think it's going to be, but our contractor, we have a contractor on board, so we haven't seen exactly how they're going to be, but it will be. We have public outreach that will be you guys will be involved with that. We'll keep your staff involved in the school district and try to be as disruptive as little as possible for the school. Disrupt less, whatever. As inconvenient as possible.
If I understand the drawing correctly, all the black areas are areas that's impacted by the construction, is that correct?
Yeah, so that'll all be new pavement.
Okay, so that little piece that hangs off of the northern tip of of Route 70 where it enters into MJUSD.
Right here?
No, a little bit more to the right. That piece right there.
Okay.
So that's where people exit driving their cars, and right to the left of it is where MCA often picks up their kids. What's the impact on that for us when that actually goes into construction?
So this is just mostly, there may be some grading and stuff down at this end, But most of this is just gonna be, we'll grind and overlay, and it'll happen in
just overlay.
it'll happen in a night. You won't even know.
Okay, and then if I remember, this has been a year. If I recall correctly, right above it was the staging area for construction, was that correct?
Right here in this area,
Yeah, I think that was.
where the Berry, it was the Berry parcel. We did have some people staging here. We rent or leased some ground, a temporary construction easement over here from Yuba Sutter Transit. We had that area located. So the contractor stored stuff here, and then in this area as well.
Okay,
where they built
so
those.
none of that has changed, so that it doesn't impact anything that sits with MJUSD?
No, we're gonna mess with this entrance here as well. So, because our road's widening, so we purchased this right away already. And we're amending that agreement. So we've already purchased this. We've had a utility easement across and relocated. The PG&E stuff work has already been, the relocation's already happened. Cal Water still needs to come in and do some of theirs. They'll utilize that easement. And then they have some work over here to do, and then down south in the project.
And then the same question applies to the two entrances into MJUSD and Merzal High School. Those are going to be done at night as well, too. They're going to be.
Yeah, so there's talk about closing 18th Street. Obviously, we won't do that during the school year.
Okay.
That would be horrendous.
Okay.
As a citizen and a parent who has been involved in kid drop-off here, I'm very well aware of the intricacies of this, and it will not happen during school.
So board members, if you think now you're not getting any phone calls, you might be later. So.
The one thing that we've worked with with your staff about this, because of this entrance, we had to redo a little bit, realign some of this entrance, and there's access to the buses, and they're parking over here. So we worked with your staff I'm sorry, I can't remember. Greg and his staff to put this entrance in. So we're going to change a little bit of his operations. I think it's a huge improvement, actually, because we're moving where those buses come in and out further from this intersection. So we've done some things that are pretty significant improvements, I think, for the school. These are not huge changes. This is going to stay the same. Going in and out of 18th Street is going to be a big difference. This signal at 24th Street is going to be huge. And it also has 2 left turn lanes and a right turn lane to go up Highway 70. So traffic in and out of this is going to be a huge improvement with the signal and people have an opportunity to get in and out. So there's some big things. The bike path is huge. To be able to just try to encourage people to be able to ride a bike through the area, come to school, walk to school. It's much safer. And lighting. So there's going to be lighting along Highway 70 that isn't there now. So we'll have to light those paths, the sidewalks and the shoulders. Caltrans, typically we put signals, we'll put lighting at the signals, but the mid-block lighting is a big, and that'll be on both sides. So it's going to be much nicer for people coming in and out of the schools. Any other questions? Jennifer has my contact information if you guys have anything, if stuff comes up. And our PIO office, they're fabulous. We do have a project website where we try to keep it up to date. And as we get closer to construction, we'll have social media out. We'll have places where people can call. We'll be making sure everybody knows how that's going to work. And if we have closures, full closures, what it looks like, what the detours will be, and stuff like that. So, but this is going to be, my opinion, right now, we have this it's kind of like a dam that separates East and West Marysville. And this project's going to open it up. It's going to be huge, much nicer than the tunnel. Place for people to be. You're going to be able to see. You're not going to feel like you're trapped as you're going through there. So just drastic improvements for the project, so. Go ahead.
Is that tunnel going to be lit?
The tunnel is going away.
Well, you said it was dropping.
The road's dropping, the tunnel currently, you can see this dotted line, that's the existing road, so the tunnel sits about right here, and it's going away. So just be a bridge with a sidewalk and then the bike path and the shoulder. You have a 6-foot shoulder and stuff there, so it's open, it'll be lit underneath the structure, and you're not gonna be trapped. The tunnel is much nicer than it used to be, but it's still not a very pleasant experience going through at night. I don't know how many of you have done that, but it's not good. It's better, but it's still not good. So this is much, much better.
Any further questions? Thank you very much. Appreciate the presentation.
You bet. Appreciate your help.
Yeah. Would you mind approving the amendment to the contract? It's an action item.
Yeah, so we have an amendment to the item, correction to the consent agenda. It read 17.11. It should be 17.12. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah, I just needed to throw that in there real quick. So 221, approve the amendment to the right-of-way contract with the State of California Department of Transportation. Do we have a motion for approval? Dr. Yang, and seconded by Mr. Steinman. So, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That is the conclusion of our meeting. Meeting closed, adjourned.